What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Family Scuba. Today I'm going to be talking about the dive that I did on the Prince Willem, also known as the Willy, just this last May out of Milwaukee with Shipwreck Explorers. Captain Yika is awesome. This is how the wreck looks today. She sits on her starboard side. The masts sticking out are, I believe, face north. Here I am close to the bottom there, which is primarily made out of clay, I think. I'm working my way rearward along the port side. I'm looking specifically for the vents that are above the engine room area. Those vents lead down, if you go down about 2 levels, I believe, to the top of the engine. But more specifically, there is a set of stairs just inside the vents. So basically where that diver is, those square holes, those are the vents just above the engine. And the plan was to go in there and see where those stairs went to. There's the stairs. It looks like they come from the second engine room level. And I don't know where they go. Out of all the dives that I've been here, I've never actually gone up there to see what is there. It's clearly a path that somebody would take and climb those steps. But I got to this point and, two things happened. One, I didn't really see a clear path straight ahead. I think it goes along to the right, just above that step. But unfortunately, I decided to bail on this exploration because I cut a very small nick in my right glove. I immediately felt the water going in just as I was making my way in through these square openings. And I was debating whether or not I would be able to continue to dive with a wet hand, or if it was smarter to just go back to the surface. Ultimately, I ended up working my way back toward this rear cargo hold. There's 2 cargo holds in the front and back. And I'm still debating. I think I'm like squeezing my hand back and forth a few times trying to debate whether or not it was worth surfacing. In the meantime, I go in here. You see all those barrels. Those barrels were not cargo. They were originally used to try and surface the boat. They used those barrels filled with air, as well as really, really massive lift bags, which are still stuck under the boat. They're kind of sticking out the edges. Just kind of interesting to see. But they were unsuccessful in lifting it, so there it lies with all of the barrels and lift bags that they used in the attempt to lift it up. In any case, there I went in, turned around, and I was facing basically the front bulkhead, or the bulkhead in the front of that rear cargo hold. So that was the bulkhead in the lower part of that superstructure. And you see the shadow of my hand there. I'm still kind of messing around trying to figure out if I'm just getting that initial chill after about 5 or 6 minutes in the water, or if I really did cut it. And I was pretty confident that I cut it. I was just kind of in denial at that point. But here I'm working my way back through the cargo hold, and I'm actually coming out. This is now into the furthest rear cargo hold before reaching the stern. And at this point, I think I'm pretty close to turning the dive. I end up surfacing, swapping out gloves. I keep spare gloves and rings, so I could just pop the ring off, throw the new one on. I use the Ultima dry glove system, and I was at the surface and back down within 5 minutes. So here is after I had gone up to the surface, switched gloves, and come back down. Here I had gone through basically one of the cargo holds that's just behind the superstructure, or in the rear cargo hold right up to the superstructure. That piece of metal there was obviously not supposed to be like that, but it's big enough for me to squeeze through. So I'm moving forward through the I believe this is the first level just underneath the main deck, leading out into the front. This is the front, or the first cargo hold, going towards the bow. I'm going to double back here and go in the same level, which is kind of weird because I dropped down about 10 or 12 feet, but I'm still in the same level of the ship, which is the first deck below the main deck. I had been through here once before, but I had come out the other way, so I was in the engine room, and I was working my way out towards that front cargo hold. Today I poked my head in there and it looked kind of weird, so I decided to go check it out, and then realized that I'd been here before. It just looked different because I was going in the opposite direction. I don't recommend people doing any of this if you're not trained for it. It isn't for everyone. I think I've said that in other videos, and I stand by that. You should be trained for it, and if you're trained for it, you should have the right mindset for doing it, because you can find yourself in a lot of trouble, and you don't want to start panicking or not thinking clearly, because it'll be a bad day for you. People have died on this wreck. It does sit on its side, and it is extremely disorienting. I've never been in there. It just looks like a big mess, and I've never gone exploring in there. I probably will someday. So now I'm going down another set of stairs into the lower engine room. So a lot of the time when I record these videos, the orientation of the camera is such that the wreck looks like it's upright and everything looks normal. That's just so that it comes out better in video. But again, I can't say this enough. This boat is sitting tilted over pretty far, and it's extremely disorienting if you try to go into these places. So here, I'm looking upwards, but it's actually toward the port side of the boat. So if you go in that direction, you're on the other side, on the port side of the lower engine room, and there's I don't know what the technical term for it, a mechanical room or something back there. And then if you continue moving forward, there's another room in front of the engine, or behind the engine. But I only made it to that room and didn't go any further. I didn't see any openings or anything else. but I believe there is more passageway that way that I'll have to check out. In any case, I'm moving back toward the bow again. I essentially went in, doubled back down those steps, and then back out towards the front of the front cargo hold, working my way toward the bow. Just like in the first few minutes of the video, the two rear cargo holds connect in the lower level. It's the same thing for the front cargo holds. But as you can see, all that silt, I think a diver has been through here. They probably went over by where I exited that lower engine room and poked their head in there, but they didn't go in. It didn't look like, because it was still very, very clear in there when I passed through, and it wasn't very clear when I came out, just like this. So somebody has been through here. It's very, very silty. Everything is covered in silt. As you can see, it gets into the water pretty easily and just kind of sits there. So here I've made it to the very front of that front cargo hold, the furthest frontmost cargo hold, and you see where the bow just kind of starts there. The cargo area ends. So this is looking back now. That is the center divider of the front cargo hold area. Here, I believe I'm moving back. That debris that you see on the left there with those lines, those are the lift bags. Some of them are kind of laying out there in the open. I believe there are some that are kind of still partially stuck underneath. I imagine it was probably quite a task to try to get this thing out of the water, especially in this mud and this clay that it's in. It's kind of dug itself in there pretty good. I don't see how they could have ever gotten it out, but I'm sure it wasn't as buried before as it is now. So here I've passed the rearmost cargo hold and made it all the way to the stern. You can still see the name of the ship on the stern. Divers go back there regularly and keep the mussels off of it. You should be able to see it in this video, or in this clip coming up here. Yep, where you see Willem. And you can see there, that's a pretty good shot of just how much the ship has slid into the clay and like really, really buried itself in there. A lot of the lines are still just laying there on the ground. They're all covered in mussels, as are all the rocks in the area. One thing I did on this dive, right after I'd come out of the engine room and swam my way back towards the stern, is I've been kind of exploring the the perimeter or the surroundings of these wrecks. A lot of these wrecks were not put here on purpose. They were actual shipwrecks. And anytime a ship goes down and it hasn't been prepared, it obviously still has all of its, not only cargo, sometimes typically, but just, general everyday items that sailors would have with them. Cups, plates, their own personal items and stuff. And if you really look closely, especially some of the more well-preserved wrecks, there is still stuff down there. I have found a leather boot inside this wreck that I'm sure belonged to a sailor from when they were still in operation. I think from like the 1960s. In any case, in my exploration there from the crow's nest, I just kind of swam far enough away from the boat. I believe it's north, but just if you are going out this way, you may take a compass bearing, a heading. And I was swimming just far enough away from the ship that I could still make it out, the silhouette, but enough to still kind of see what was out there. And I started seeing a lot of these poles. And then I saw this structure. And I had never, I've done, like I said before, a lot of dives on this wreck. Quite a few dives, at least probably, 15, 20 dives. And I'd never seen this structure here. I'd never seen all of this debris. So I went out there, and I was nearing the end of the dive. I was planning for about an hour, and I was nearing the end at this point, and I didn't want to waste a whole lot of time here, but I really wanted to check out this area a little bit more to see what was laying around here. And if not many people have been to this section of the shipwreck, there could be a lot more stuff on here still, or things that people haven't noticed or seen. I don't know what it is. It looks like four walls to me, or what used to be four walls, and windows and some doorways maybe. I'm assuming it was some structure on the top of the ship that collapsed with the the implosion of the air that was inside, and then broke apart and just eventually floated off the top deck, or wherever it was located. I don't know. I've been, like I said, I've been on this wreck a lot, at least for me anyway. Probably the most dives I've done on one place would be this wreck, and I don't even know where this would have gone. Maybe the stern? I don't know. From the pictures, I can't tell either. After I got done looking at that thing, I worked my way back towards the line, and I saw another diver off in the distance. So I figured I had a few more minutes. And so I swam quickly toward the bow, because the last dive I did on here in April, the one dive prior to this one, I was exploring the area in front of the bow, just a little bit like southwest it would be. I started following kind of like this little valley area that was cut out here, and I ran into a weird, like a weird container of some kind. I don't know what it is, if it was like an old boiler, or I don't know what it is. If somebody knows what it is, or they're more familiar with ships, I would love to know what this thing is. So here, apparently I'm working my way back, but I think once I reach the chain, I see the diver diving in the opposite direction. So I double back again. But I'm working my way along the port side back to where the chain is, which is about midship on the superstructure. So there's that container after I doubled back again. I don't know what it is. It's just a big box. It is definitely made of metal. I tried to get a peek underneath it to see if there was, like some tubes or something coming out of it generally. If they're like holding tanks, or, that's the only thing I could think of, is like a holding tank. But you couldn't see anything At least I couldn't see anything. I don't believe the camera caught anything either. I don't know. Maybe everything that would distinguish what this thing is stuck in the mud there, in that hard clay. But anyway, a little quick side story and little caution warning here is I was so intrigued by this thing, going back to it for the second time, that I forgot which direction I came from. I knew I had seen that, but it wasn't where in my mind, it was supposed to be. So you see me here circling a bunch of times because I can't see the ship and I'm not sure which direction I was supposed to go in. But obviously I went the right way. So this is the dive. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.